people say he's done something that goes beyond the pale, he will shake his head and give this answer without fail. A hoax, he says it's all a hoax. When at a press conference or with misspelled keystrokes, he says he tells no lies and that he never jokes. Confronting with the truth, he'll say it's all a hoax. A modern Don Quixote, he hates the windmills, claiming to protect the birds and whales he says they kill. But don't believe that story, it's really just a shill. He just did not want to see them wild golfing on Scottish hills. A hoax, he said it's all a hoax. When at a press conference or with misspelled keystrokes, changing a storm path with black marker strokes. Confronted with the truth, to say it's all a hoax. Casting mail-in ballots is something that he's done. Now he wants to ban them for each and every one. He claims it's for integrity in each election, but he won't believe the results unless it's him that's won. A hoax, he says it's all a hoax. When at a press conference or with misspelled keystrokes, they'll fool you with distractions like real sugar in Cokes. Confronting with the truth, he'll say it's all a hoax. He promised to release all the Epstein files that caused all the MAGA base to react with smiles. But how long has he put it off? It sure has been a while, and now he's calling this a hoax, protecting pedophiles. A hoax, he says it's all a hoax. When at a press conference or with misspelled keystrokes, he'll keep on gaslighting up until he croaks. Confronted with the truth, he'll say it's all a hoax.
Trump pile debt, trillions tall. Promised Mexico would fund that wall. Praised dictators, said they're strong. Had Joe done it, they'd say he's wrong. Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, whole numbers would slip. Had Biden done it, that screen foul play. But Trump did it, so it must be okay. Goes through crises, storms, and more. Called soldiers losers who died in war. Hire his kids to run D.C. If it was Hunter, they'd scream treachery. Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, the numbers would slip. Had Biden done it, Fox News would say I they. But Trump did it, so it must be okay. Love Kim Jong-un, he wrote love letters that take the guns first, lose those rights forever. Signed you spending bills with glee. Had Joe done that, it'd be tyranny. Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, whole numbers would slip. Had Biden done it, they shall look today. But Trump did it, so it must be okay. Kept secret files, countless untold. Said Putin's word was good as gold. Invited the Taliban to come to U.S. soil. If Joe had done that, they'd all recoil. Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, the numbers would slip. Had Biden done it, they'd want him to pay. But Trump did it, so it must be okay. Double standards loud and clear. Rules for Trump, but not for peers. What they call treason, if Joe's the name, is patriotism when Donald's to blame. Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, whole numbers would slip. Had Biden
This just in. A sudden spike in logic levels across the city. Citizens report seeing a man with glasses and a podcast mic.
We go now.
Live to Liberal Dan.
Yo, who you gonna call when Nazi writings on the wall? Call your man Liberal Dan, cause you know we got a plan. The right wing talking shit, but he ain't about to quit. He'll take his proton pack and zap your logic cause it's whack. So who you gonna call when the writing's on the wall? Call your man Liberal Dan, and the rhetoric will fall.
It's being reported that Liberal Dan is setting up what appears to be some sort of straw man containment field.
He's calling out your lies with his mic, he'll vaporize. Cross the streams in your dreams, bitch, you know that he's too wise. You're like Slimer talking crap, but you walked into his trap. Yo, it's more than entertainment, it's misinformation contained. So who you gonna call when the writing's on the wall? Call your man Liberal Dan, and the rhetoric will fall. The Statue of Liberty, the writing you can see. So bring the huddled masses, it's a war of the classes. While Trump may think he's Vigo, Dan can cut through that ego. He's got the facts to prove him wrong, got that logic like Egon. Your logic is a ghost, cause you know this chick is toast. When you follow MTG, it's conspiracy, you'll see. There's no need to taser, he's got wit like Occam's razor. Liberal Dan cuts those lies with his Jewish face laser.
It's unbelievable. Liberal Dan just used the literal dog whistle to lure a large group of internet trolls into what is being called a self-collapsing rhetoric singularity. In all my years of reporting, I've never seen anything like this.
So don't call to be a heckler, you ain't no Judge Rexler. He'll bust you like Scolary, cause your logic's looking hairy. Right-wing callers think they're cool, but they sounding just like Zool. You the dog, he the man, and yo, his name is Liberal Dan. So who you gonna call when the writing's on the wall? Call your man Liberal Dan, and the rhetoric will fall. Liberal Dan, Liberal Dan, Liberal Dan.
Proclaimed king, a groper in chief, stealing our country, a crooked orange thief. Faux patriots who are poorly educated, wearing red hats and also unvaccinated. Liberal Dan will see us through. It's the best show that you're not listening to. So when you hear the call, animals unite. Liberal Dan Radio, talk from the left, that's right. A failing media that's barely treading water. They're too inept to fight this new world order. Corporate pigs are at the trough, hear the squeals. The swine won't bite the hands that feeds them meals. But Liberal Dan will see us flow. It's the best show that you're not listening to. So when you hear the call, animals unite. Liberal Dan Radio, talk comes the left, that's right. A leftist voice on air, exposing MAGA treason, breaking through their lies with facts, logic, and reason. Unmasking hypocrisy, the truth will be our guide. Call out their lies, justice is on our side. Cause Liberal Dan will see us through. It's the best show that you're not listening to. So when you hear the call, animals unite. Liberal Dan Radio, talk from the left, that's right. Liberal Dan Radio, talk from the left, that's right.
welcome back to Liberal Dan Radio, Talk from the Left, that's right. This is your host, Dan Zimmerman, coming at you live from New Orleans, Louisiana. To join the conversation, join us in either one of the chats, either on twitch.liberaldanradio.com or just liberaldanradio.com, which is the YouTube channel. Help out the show's algorithms by going to YouTube, liking, sharing, subscribing if you haven't done so yet. All the good stuff. Help Al Gore get more rhythm because he needs it. But you can also support the show other ways. Venmo, Liberal Dan, or you can just scan the QR code, or you can go to be a Patreon, patreon.com/liberaldan or patreon.liberaldan.com. You can buy me a cider. Go to liberaldan.com, click the buy me cider button, or just go to buymeacoffee.com/liberaldanradio. Super chat, super stickers. If you have Amazon Prime, it's free to subscribe over on Twitch. You can gift subscriptions or memberships on Twitch or YouTube, respectively. Yada, yada, yada. All the good stuff. We are going to go as long as possible today, simply because of the fact that I'm exhausted. And I do have to save some energy up for the weekend because I have a drive to do because the kids have a bowling tournament going on in Alexandria, Louisiana. So fun. With all the stuff that's going on, Cassie has moved from the she already moved from the ICU to one room, and then now she's moved to the wing that they do inpatient therapy on. So I'm sure she's going to probably be in the hospital for at least another 2 weeks, if not more, because she's going to need to do the physical therapy. But we'll be there, and we'll be visiting her as much as possible, and we just deal with it as life goes on. But the show must go on as well, so we're broadcasting live here today as well. So it does seem like she's doing better, although I was trying to help her because I was probably more muscular than the people who would try to put her in her bed, and I was like, let me do it. And so I was helping her kind of off the bed and help her kind of shimmy over to the other bed, because for some reason they wanted to push her in a bed and not a wheelchair. I don't understand that. But I did have to catch her real quick because she did kind of drop. She was a little weak in the knees, and not in a fun way, right?
Oh my.
Anyway, but yeah, that she's moving to that floor is a good thing. So yes, let's see. Trust in every game. Cosmic Rose, Aaron or Villaby, Fansan over on Twitch. Thank you for joining. Over on YouTube, we got Aaron as well. Teresa, good to see you. Thank you for joining. Nick is here, waiting for Hal. Steve from across the pond.
If it's not Scottish, it's crap.
Molly, joy to see you. Suzanne, Susie, Big Hook, good to see you. Big Hook. Treva, nice to see you as well. Bethany, good to see you. Penny to Create, also good. TV2 Live, go subscribe to TV2 Live. Thank you for joining. Appreciate you. We will say hello to more as people go in. Oh, I forgot to even turn it off of live chat. Sketchy, good to see you, Sketchy. Did I miss anybody from being on live and not the regular old one? I don't think so, but if I did, I apologize. Anyway, so we're gonna get cracking on some of the stuff that we are going to be talking about today. I'm missing one of my winders. One of the windows. There you go. That's the window I was looking for. So starting off the show with, hey, Mr. Ryzen Mojo, good to see you, is over there on Twitch as well. Papa Jeff USA. Step down units are a good progress sign. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Please explain. I don't know everything about everything, so I'm not sure what a step down unit is. Oh, a step down unit, like stepping down units. Okay, I got it. I'm so exhausted. It took my brain a few seconds to just, for it to trigger, for the synapses to fire correctly, so to speak. Hey, Josh C, it's good to see you. Thank you for joining. She did appreciate all of the well messages. I think I said that yesterday, but saying it again today. Again, tired, but we're going to try and trudge through as much of this because there's several things we want to respond to. Some short videos, some Trump posts on Truth Social, etc. But we wanted to start off with an interesting story. Deep in the rainforest of Uganda, scientists have watched the largest known group of wild chimpanzees, pan troglodytes, as they turn on each other as if engaging in a civil war. The lethal conflict is the first clear example of a ferocious fission in a wild chimpanzee community. And the next one is going to be MAGA, splitting up as well. Over many years, scientists watched as wild primates that once lived, ate, and groomed and patrolled together, they gradually turned on each other, ultimately becoming lethal rivals. Sounds like MTG and Donald Trump. One of humanity's closest living relatives, chimps, and their social interactions may help us better understand the evolutionary roots of war and peace in our own societies. Especially the closest ones to the chimpanzees are the MAGA folks, the ones wearing a red hat. The chimpanzees might have a brightly colored ass. They have brightly covered hats or heads and worship an ass, and not in a fun way.
Oh my.
It's tempting to attribute polarization and war that occur in humans today to ethnic, religious, or political divisions, says study authors and evolutionary anthropologist Aaron Sandell of the University of Texas at Austin. But these primates don't have the same reasons for infighting. Instead, it seems that shifting social relationships can also drive a wedge between primates of the same culture. Study encourages a reevaluation of current models of human collective violence. The evidence extracted over 30 years of observations contributes to the decades-long debate. In the 70s, Jane Goodall noticed a community of chimps in Tanzania splinter into two rival factions, leading to a 4-year-long lethal battle. Chimpanzees can be gruesome killers, and in the wild, they're known to attack other neighboring groups, possibly to defend and expand their territory or to raid resources. Sounds a lot like Donald Trump. I love the chimpanzees. They're great. They bring violence like no one's ever seen except for our warfighters. Whether chimps of the same cultural group engage in civil warfare has been less clear. The genes of chimps, for instance, suggest that permanent fissions within groups are exceedingly infrequent, with an event occurring every 500 years or so. Recent examples in Uganda may be one such rarity. Back in '95, Ngogo chimps in western Uganda's Kibale National Park were part of a single large group. Then in 2015, just after a new alpha male had been crowned, primatologists noticed an inexplicable shift. 1 year before Donald Trump took office, or I guess a year and a little bit. Two clusters of chimps began to take shape within the community. The ones wearing red hats and those not wearing red hats, right? Our first behavioral observations suggest a split occurred on the 24th of June, 2015. Is that close to when Trump walked down the escalator? When did Trump walk down the escalator? June 16th, 2015. So June 16th, 2015, Donald Trump comes down the escalator, and then 8 days later, rival factions of chimpanzees split. That can't be a coincidence, right? I mean, come on. There's got to be something close there. I don't know. Maybe something happened to where the low IQ humans and the high IQ chimps starting to have a meeting of the minds, so to speak. So, rather than reuniting in typical fission-fusion fashion, that's, alliteration, the western chimpanzees ran away and the central chimpanzees chased them. A 6-week period of avoidance followed. Such a prolonged period of avoidance had not been observed before. What was once the center of the Ngogo chimp community became a border patrolled by males from both sides. In 2017, social tension came to a head. 2017, again, Donald Trump then becomes president. By 2018, the rupture between the two cliques had become permanent in social, spatial, and reproductive terms. I mean, life imitating nature, life in America. I mean, you can look at the two and be like, oh my God, the chimps are acting like our chimps, right? A few years later, in 2021, the aggression turned to infants. I guess that's when Joe Biden took over, the chimps started killing the babies. If it wouldn't have happened, if I would have been president, there would have not have been any chimp baby killing if I took office. Also, Russia wouldn't have invaded Ukraine. Researchers directly observes Western chimps stealing and killing 14 infants from the central cluster. Between 2018 and 2024, Western chimps would attack and kill an average of 1 adult male and 2 infants a year. Such killing rates far exceeded those that have been estimated for intergroup aggression among chimpanzees. Over the years, more than a dozen Ngogo central chimps died due to unknown causes. It was COVID. It's the China virus for COVID. Often these apparently healthy primates would just disappear. Their bodies were never recovered by researchers. It's possible they too were killed by the Western Rebellion. With nearly 200 individuals, including more than 30 adult males, the Ngogo chimpanzee groups exceeded the size of other chimpanzee groups, potentially straining the capacity for relationship maintenance. Although an alpha male change alone does not explain why the group split, it may have amplified tensions between the two clusters. The new alpha male chimp said, "I am the best chimp you've ever seen. There's never been a better chimp." James Brooks from the German Primate Center, who was not involved in the research, says it's too early to draw any firm conclusions about why this chimp group ruptured or what it means for other groups and species, including ourselves. I mean, clearly, we at Liberal Dan Radio, Talk from the Left That's Right, have figured out that clearly there's definitely strong correlations between what's going on in the chimp world and what's going on in the MAGA world, and them separating themselves from the pack as well, and both being exceedingly violent. Humans may share 98.8% of our DNA with chimps, but our genes are not our density. Our relationships with others can drive deadly divisions, but can also foster cooperation and compassion. Not with MAGA around. In some cases, it may be small daily acts of reconciliation and reunion between individuals, and we find opportunities for peace. So anyway, I wasn't actually planning on making that be a whole let's compare the chimps to Trump and MAGA thing, but as I read it, I was just like, oh, there you go, right? Let's see. Thank you, Alyosha, for the bits. Hey, 250 kilo. Hey, let's see. Maggots are not bonobos. Bonobos, also known as pygmy chimps, are a species of great ape found in the lowland rainforests of the Democratic Republic of Congo. They are known for their peaceful social structure, while females lead in conflicts are often resolved through sexual behaviors rather than aggression.
Oh my.
Anyway, let's see, did they use the baby chimps for facial creams? They put the baby genes into coke and in developing Tylenol in acetaminophen.
Well, let's see how we say that. Acetaminophen. Acetaminophen.
I have the best words. Nobody has better words. Anyway, Melania Trump has been busy. First Lady Melania Trump lauded the first conviction under the Take It Down Act. We kind of briefly talked about that yesterday. Against non-consensual activity, non-consensual sexually explicit deepfakes. Thanking federal prosecutors for protecting Americans from cybercrimes in this new digital age. A Columbus, Ohio man pled guilty to cybercrimes involving real and AI-generated sexually explicit images, along with violent threats, according to the DOJ. Today marks the first conviction under Take It Down, protecting victims from non-consensual AI-generated sexually explicit images, cyberstalking, and threats of violence, the First Lady wrote on the social platform Twitter. Thank you, U.S. Attorney Dominic S. Garace II, for protecting Americans from cybercrimes in this new digital age. Comes less than a year after President Trump signed the Take It Down Act, which criminalized the publication of sexually explicit deepfake images and videos online. The act also requires websites to take down content within 48 hours of hearing from the victim. First Lady was a vocal supporter of the bill as part of a broader youth-centered initiative focused on combating issues relating to children's well-being. Prosecutor said James Strahler, a 37-year-old, in Tuesday's plea, installed more than 24 AI platforms and more than 100 AI web-based models on a phone and used text calls and online phones to harass victims. The harassment involved at least 6 adult female victims who received both real and AI-generated nude images of themselves, according to the DOJ. Strahler also posted obscene AI content of children using the faces of minors in his community. Prosecutors added these hundreds of images and videos were posted to a child sexual abuse website. We will not tolerate the abhorrent practice of posting and publishing AI-generated intimate images of real individuals without consent, and we are committed to using every tool at our disposal to hold accountable offenders like Strahler who seek to intimidate, harass others. The conviction was also celebrated by the Senate authors Amy Klobuchar and Ted Cruz. Because of our work to make the law of the land, big tech can no longer turn a blind eye to the spread of vile material, said Cruz. Klobuchar added, it sends a clear message that perpetrators of these heinous crimes will be held accountable. Last year, we passed our major bipartisan legislation to take on the brutal sharing of these images. Real or deepfake, kids tragically commit suicide over sharing of these images, and we knew we had to act. So look, bipartisan bill. It passed. It got signed into law by Trump. Again, I am more than willing to say when I agree with something that Donald Trump does, and his signing of that Take It Down Act seems to be, something that was done that was a good thing to be done. So I guess enjoy it, because there's not much of that's going to be happening, I guess, where I'm going to say something happened that Donald Trump did that I am, agreeing with. So, and then Melania was also busy. Let's pull this down here for a smidge, because we want to talking about the Epstein issue, because I guess for some reason she needed to talk about the Epstein issue. And there's Melania coming in from around it's better than Bobby Jindal's entrance when he did the reaction or the response to the State of the Union address. When Bobby Jindal kind of like turned that corner, I was just like, what? Really? That was when Obama was president, I believe. But here comes Melania. Did they have to have her walking all the way up from the back? They could have just started filming it once she got to the podium, right? Nothing like a little added drama, right?
Good afternoon. The lies linking me with the disgraceful Jeffrey Epstein need to end today.
There are pictures of you and Donnie Boy with Epstein and Maxwell, so there's a link.
Individuals lying about me are devoid of ethical standards.
Talk to your husband, because, this administration is the last administration that needs to talk about, that should be telling anybody else about ethical standards.
Humility and respect. I do not object to their ignorance, but rather I reject their mean-spirited attempts to defame my reputation.
You married Donald Trump, that your reputation's pretty well shot at that point.
I never been friends with Epstein.
I just took pictures with him and posed for pictures with him, just 'cause.
Donald and I were invited to the same parties.
And you went and you posed for pictures with them.
As Epstein from time to time, since overlapping in social circles is common in New York City and Palm Beach.
Yeah, but, overlapping social circles is one thing. Posing for pictures is quite another.
To be clear, I never
Josh, was Melania wearing floor chimes? Probably ones that are too big as well.
had a relationship with Epstein or his accomplice, Maxwell. My email reply to Maxwell cannot be categorized as anything more than casual correspondence.
So she was casually friends with Maxwell or whatever. There's emails.
My polite reply to her email doesn't amount to anything more
It doesn't amount to a hill of beans or whatever else.
than a trivial note. I am not Epstein's victim. Epstein did not introduce me to Donald Trump.
Well, someone in my chat says otherwise, but, hey.
I met my husband by chance.
On Foreign Bride website?
At the New York City party in 1998.
At Epstein's party?
This initial encounter with my husband is documented in detail in my book, Melania.
And I walked up on her and I grabbed her by the hoo-ah and she seemed to like it, so I did it again. And I knew that this was the one I wanted to marry for now.
The first time I crossed paths with Epstein was in the year 2000 at an event Donald and I attended together. At the time, I had never met Epstein and had no knowledge of his criminal undertaking.
And of course she's reading this from a script instead of like saying her words. She doesn't know how to say what these words are and you know, publicly or whatever. Like she can't just say speak from her heart instead of speaking from what was written for her. One thing I do have to add though, maybe we should add, hey Melania, blink twice if you're okay.
Numerous fake images and statements about Epstein and me have been circulating on social media.
I think she meant circulating.
For years now. Be cautious about what you believe. These images.
I mean, you palled around with Epstein, so there's pictures. Why would we not believe the pictures are real? Because, you know, they've been verified as real.
And stories are completely false.
Moon Girl, which robot is this? Figure 666. And this is AI Melania. Does she have 6 fingers on one hand?
I'm not a witness or a name witness.
It's Melania number 2, Electric Boogaloo.
In connection with any of Epstein's crimes. My name has never appeared in court documents, depositions.
I made sure that they were scrubbed from the files before they got to Pam Bondi's desk. Loser Pam Bondi, who I had to fire because she wasn't good. I didn't like her.
Victim statements or FBI interviews surrounding the Epstein matter. I have never had any knowledge of Epstein abuse of his victims. I was never involved in any capacity. I was not a participant, was never on Epstein's plane, and never visited his private island. I have never been legally accused or convinced of a crime.
Convicted? I think she meant convicted. I mean, look, I understand that English is not her first language. I think she speaks many languages, supposedly, and good for her. I mean, you know, apparently she's very intelligent when it comes to, you know, all the different languages that she speaks. But, I mean, maybe she used all of her intelligence to, you know, learn languages and ran out of it when it came to picking a decent human being as a husband. Although, maybe it's just for the money.
In connection with Epstein's sex trafficking, abuse of minors.
Moon Girl, good idea. We're sitting there and he goes and invades Iran and attacks Iran for 6 weeks to divert attention away from Epstein. And now here comes Melania saying, I didn't do it. It wasn't me. I was not the one who, you know, I was not the one who was hooking up Epstein with kids and whatever went to the island. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. But they saw me on the island. It wasn't me.
And other repulsive behavior. The false smears about me from mean-spirited and politically motivated individuals and entities looking to cause.
Yes, we're so mean-spirited that we want, you know, to get down to the bottom of who got abused and who did the abuse.
Cause damage to my good name, to gain financially and climb politically must stop. My attorneys and I have fought these unfounded and baseless lies with success and will continue to maintain my sound reputation without hesitation.
I mean, I'm not necessarily going to say you have a sound reputation based on who you married.
To date,
hot take from a Choices at Every Game. Melania voted for Kamala because she wanted her husband to go to jail. The tell-all book was probably in the works. Then he won, so she had to slap together some horseshit documentary. The only person who liked it apparently was Alexandra Pelosi. F her, by the way.
Several individuals and companies have been legally obligated to publicly apologize and retract their lies about me, such as Daily Beast, James Carville, and HarperCollins UK. Now is the time for Congress to act. Epstein was not alone. Several prominent male executives resigned from their powerful positions after this matter became widely politicized.
What would have been great though is like SP is not alone. It was my husband. He was involved. He was responsible. It wasn't me. It was him. That would be great. Like that she could have had the best opportunity to be the hero of what's going on in this country by just simply in the middle of the speech, like pulling a Spock when he was in Romulus type thing from Star Trek: The Next Generation, when they were expecting to telecast one thing over subspace, and then all of a sudden he starts warning of the invasion of the Romulans and the Vulcan. I know I'm getting very nerdy right then, but it is what it is. But she had the best opportunity there to be like, it was all Donald. Donald did it. He's completely guilty, and I know, and I have the evidence right here. That would have been great.
Of course, this doesn't amount to guilt, but we still must work openly and transparently to uncover the truth. I call on Congress to provide the women who have been victimized by Epstein with a public hearing specifically centered around the survivors. Give these victims their opportunity to testify under oath in front of Congress with the power of sworn testimony. Each and every woman should have her day to tell her story in public if she wishes, and then her testimony should be permanently entered into the congressional record.
Now, I saw that little clip. I haven't seen the whole thing, but I did see that particular part. That's what made me want to play the whole thing. Is that a good idea? I mean, or is this like a reverse honeypot or something? Trying to get to say, let's have the victims come out so they all can come out so then all the criminals can know who all the victims are and what they look like today, so then the criminals can go after them and deal with them in a horrible, nefarious way. I mean, I would like to think that she's being genuine here and wanting all of the victims to have their say and be able to speak out and talk about what happened to them, but she's part of the Donald Trump administration. So I can't help but sit here and go, you know what? Maybe there's something fishy here, and maybe there's some ulterior motives that we are not privy to because, they have her there, and maybe this is almost a coerced thing. I don't know. I don't know about that. I can't say. But to me, it would be very, very suspect if I was a victim of Epstein. That I would be like, do I really want to come out at the beck and call of this administration who is calling this whole thing a hoax? I mean, your husband called the Epstein file thing a hoax. It's in the song that I made, a hoax. So, let's see, DB Golding, what the hell does she know about what it is to come out? Sounds like she's trying to keep one step ahead. Perhaps.
Then, and only then, we will have the truth. Thank you.
They're like, damn it, we're not taking questions. Oh no. So, let's see, there's that one. Yeah. All right. I was about to close my face and leave you with Melania. So anyway, it is what it is. So yeah, I don't trust anything in this administration that they're going to do anything that to the benefit of the victims of Epstein and his horrible clients. Let's see. Jen had said, let's see. Hi, LibDan. Sorry I'm late. Have you seen Doc Adam on Instagram? Trump has maybe 20 days. Woot, woot. I'm trying to look at, unless I'm looking at a different Doc Adam. Is it Doc Adam Smith or is it just Doc Adam period? Because I haven't found anything under that. Or is it this one? I don't know. Let's see. I don't. Okay, is that Adam Arola? Is that it? I don't know, but maybe we'll look into it for the next show. I don't know. Let's see. Do we trust Melania to help? No, we don't, because Melania is married to Trump, and she wants to. She's more likely, in my opinion, to want to protect her money than she is to want to protect the people who are victims of Epstein. And again, I don't trust that, you know, they wouldn't create some sort of honeypot trap to try and get them to come out and expose who they are so that the people who abuse them can then come after and silence them. Just my thoughts. Let's see. Let's pull this up here and see. There we go. The profile is private. Epistemic crisis. It's coming up as private, where I can't see that page or whatever. Senator Jayapal has done victims stand and raise their hands in front of Congress. Yes, she did, and they didn't have to, but she did. But she gave them the opportunity to stand up if they wanted to. And there are some victims who have absolutely been 100% out there talking about them and who haven't shied away from saying, hey, I'm a victim of Epstein, and the other people who violated us listen to our stories and go after these people. So, yeah, that's totally different than, what I fear this could potentially be. I trust Jayapal, at least on this issue. I mean, how much can you trust any politician, really? But as it pertains to, this administration wanting to help victims, had they been immediately saying, hey, here are the files, boom, there you go, here, look at all of them, except for the fact that they're redacted from the victims, had they done that and not fought it, fine. But they didn't. They fought it, and they call it a hoax, so I don't trust them further than I can throw them. With my bad knee, I shouldn't be throwing anybody. So, see, it's Melania's broken clock moment. Melania wants the files out. MTG wants the files out. I'm taking yes for an answer. Fuck the orange pedo in chief. Exactly. Imagine if Biden called the Epstein files a hoax.
Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, whole numbers would flip. Had Biden done it, the screen fell play, but Trump did it, so it must be okay.
Anyway, so there's that. Let's see, what is... Oh, that's that. Let's see... boom. Oh yeah, then of course you've had some crazy ass in the last 24 to 36 hours, crazy ass posts from President over on Propaganda Social. Let's see. Marjorie Trader Brown, green turns to brown under stress. That's why he calls her Marjorie Taylor. He's calling her Marjorie Brown because it's not green because she's under stress. Marjorie Trader Brown's seat in Congress has been taken over by a wonderful and talented man, Clay Fuller, who won convincingly and right from the beginning, despite many people running that Trump plus 37 seat. Of course, the end result of it was not Fuller plus 37, but there was a big cut into the lead by this Donald Trump endorsed candidate, which doesn't look good. I mean, if that much shifts in Florida in every district, guess what? Y'all are fucked. Hopefully, but of course, again, I never begrudge the ability of the Democrats to snatch defeat out of the jaws of victory. A little bit about that in a smidge. Despite the stench left by Green, I guess he's back to calling her Green instead of Brown. He's like, by Green, I'm sorry, Brown. Congratulations to Clay Fuller, a very large improvement over his deranged predecessor. You know how Donald Trump knows that green turns to brown under stress? It's probably what happens in his diaper all the time, right? Check my email. I will do. Anyway, what's the next unhinged rant? There's that. We're probably gonna have to pause this. Oh, it's muted.
Fucking around.
Oh, let's see. We'll see what it is. Let's play what Jen sent us. Live switching streams real quick. Not crossing the streams. You don't want to cross the streams, but switching streams real quick. Here is the reel that Jen wanted me to play. So let's play it. See what he says.
He's calling for the impeachment of the president because that son of a bitch has dementia. I'm a physical therapist with a doctorate in my field and 14 years experience working in home health care, treating geriatric patients with dementia who do not live in the same reality as the rest of
My name is not Jerry. My last name is not Attrick. You can't call me geriatric.
us do.
I'm sure you've seen Donald Trump's unhinged posts from this morning.
I mean, we're going over them now, some of them at least.
Is completely unstable and dangerous.
What else is new? I mean, that's not news. We've known this since the first term, but still.
Here's what needs to happen immediately. The House must come back into session to bring up and pass articles of
The House, articles of impeachment, articles. I gotta love Senator Markey about that with his accent. Was he parks his car in the yard.
Impeachment against Donald Trump. Then the Senate needs to remove him from office.
They need to remove him wicked hard. Sorry.
Fuck yeah.
A war powers resolution is not enough. Yes, we need to assert congressional authority and stop this illegal war in Iran, but Trump is clearly a war-hungry madman.
I mean, we knew that from 2016 during the campaign when he said he wanted to invade the Middle East and kill the terrorists and kill the families of terrorists and then take all their oil. So we already knew that.
At odds with the American people, impeachment is the top priority. No more war criminal in the White House.
Senator Ed Markey. I used to see him every day at the car park where he parked his car at the car park. He's 100% fucking right. It is beginning, everybody. There's more than 50 Democratic members of Congress, including Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's no longer in Congress, calling for impeachment or the 25th Amendment. Just like I told you guys.
Yeah, but the people in Congress can't invoke the 25th Amendment. That has to be the vice president and his cabinet. And then you're not going to, again, what? I don't believe that you're going to have this frickin' Speaker of the House, Johnson, come out and be like, okay, well, I'm going to change my mind. No, Speaker Johnson is a tool of Donald Trump, and he's done his bidding even between the terms. So
we're counting down. They're going to be forced to impeach him because he will become so unstable that he cannot be left in office. He posted that an entire civilization is going to be destroyed, but he has dementia. He is fucking out of his mind. And we're within a 16-day window where they will be forced to impeach him, like I fucking told you, or 25th Amendment, Article 2, Section 4, or he will leave the land of the living. Who gives a shit? Let's just get rid of this motherfucker. Thank you for your attention to this matter. I really enjoy being right.
All right, so he's just saying that I guess his expertise says that he has less than 20 days. Well, look, I would love for it to happen before my birthday, but if it happened on my birthday, that would be great. But that would be another month of Trump, which nobody wants. But anyway, wait, did I miss? Cosmic Rose DM'd me a Doc Adams Substack post. Let's see, hold on. Let's bring that open over here. Open that wicked hard. That's not on that one. So anyway, let's close that one again. We can look this up here as well. Let's open up that and go to Blue Sky. See, we're doing things on the fly here on Liberal Dan Radio. Talk from the left, that's right. Here's the Substack too. It's just talking about his stuff. Let's see if there's anything else there that talks about, I don't know. Gotta log in. Nope, not that one. I don't know. We'll figure it out later. Maybe we'll go over that the next thing, or we'll go over a bunch of his stuff maybe later when we see it. Again, I don't want it to go too much of me, just searching for things. Anyway, let's go back to the unhinged dementia guy, Dementia Don, and more of his propaganda social posts. Neither was it. This is all caps except for the word president. NATO wasn't there when we needed them, and they won't be there if we need them again. Remember Greenland, that big, poorly run piece of ice? President DJT. I mean, yeah, NATO, he doesn't understand what NATO's for. They're not your personal, war fighting force. They are not there to help us invade other people. They're there to help. We're there to prevent aggression, specifically Russian aggression, but any act of aggression against any of the NATO allies, and then they're supposed to come to our defense, and we're supposed to go to their defense. Now, who's going to come to their defense if we attack them, right? And Dementia Don decides to go ahead and, take the child-proofing off of the button. Thank you, Cosmic Rose, for the Substack, though. I appreciate it. What else? Truth also wants to show me notifications. Fuck no. Iran is doing a very poor job, dishonorable some would say, of allowing oil to go through the Strait of Hormuz. That's not the agreement we have. President Donald J. Trump. I mean, this is not how you do foreign policy. This is not how sane people, at least, sane, intelligent, diplomatic folks do foreign policy. They don't do foreign policy by tweet or by post or by propaganda feed or whatever. They do diplomacy by sending diplomats over and having discussions and conversations, not airing everything out in public. I love airing my dirty laundry out in public, even if I have a shit stain on it. I'm sorry, sometimes I do shit my pants. But yeah, this is again why everybody was so like, well, why isn't Biden doing anything with the whole thing between Israel and Hamas and Gaza? Because there's behind the scenes stuff, and intelligent presidents don't air everybody's dirty laundry out for the whole fucking world to see. So, but yeah. And then, of course, there's this big one. No, I don't want you to show me notifications, dummy. Donald Trump, and this was April 9th at 3:30, I guess my time. So maybe 4:30 his time. And this is like a wall of text. I know why Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, and Alex Jones have all been fighting me for years. I mean, Alex Jones, is very recently fighting. I thought Alex Jones was pretty supportive up until very recently. But, maybe I'm confusing one conservative wackadoodle blowhard with another conservative wackadoodle blowhard. Especially by the fact that they think it's wonderful for Iran, the #1 state sponsor of terror, to have a nuclear weapon. Again, this is one of the things I was going to talk about even before I saw this post on Poop Social. Maybe that's what we should call it, Poop Social, because how much Donald Trump poops his pants. But anyway, but yeah, I could sit there and I would say, Iran having a nuclear weapon is a bad idea and we don't want it to happen. And then go on and continue to point out all of the issues that I have with Donald Trump and his actions as it pertains to Iran and the needless killing and the unnecessary bombing that didn't need to happen, yada, yada, yada. And then the response from MAGA folks would be, why do you want them to have a nuke? So you have no problem with them having a nuclear weapon? Hold on a brief second. I hear the dogs barking and nobody's taking care of them, and they're supposed to be cleaning, but I don't think they are. Let's see. Because they have one thing in common, low IQs, they're stupid people, they know it, their families know it. No, stupid people don't actually know that they're stupid. I can say that I don't know something about a particular topic, and that's one thing. And I can say that I'm stupid on certain things, like the bonehead mistake that I made as it pertains to the indemnity coverage that I opted in for. But, yeah, no. Stupid people don't know they're stupid. Why do I say that? Because Donald Trump's a stupid motherfucker and he doesn't know that he's fucking stupid. Look at their past. Look at their record. They don't have what it takes. They never did. They've all been thrown off television, lost their shows, and aren't even invited on TV because nobody cares about them. They're nut jobs. Yeah, it takes one nut to know another. Will say anything necessary for free and cheap publicity. Now they think they'll get some clicks because they have third-rate podcasts. No, that's me. I have a third-rate podcast. Everybody else says they're much more popular than I am. Maybe Liberal Dan is fifth-rate. He's maybe sixth-rate. I don't know, 6 or 7. Maybe 6th or 7th rate. I don't know. See, I wouldn't have won the presidential election in a landslide, and anybody who thinks he won in a landslide is a fucking idiot. MAGA agrees with me, nobody else does, and just gave CNN a 100% approval rating of Trump. Yeah, MAGA gave Trump a 100% approval rating. Shocker. Shocker, I say. Not hand-flailing fools like Tucker Carlson who couldn't even finish college. You know, did he say the same thing about old what's-his-face who got shot in the neck? No. He was a broken man when he got fired from Fox, and he's never been... No, Tucker Carlson has been the same since he lost the bow tie. I mean... Or Megyn Kelly, who nationally asked me the now famous Only Rosie O'Donnell question. Or crazy Candace Owens, who accuses the highly respected First Lady of France of being a man when she is not. I mean, wow. I mean, holy shit. In that whole bunch of crap, he actually, you know, actually says it's not good to misgender somebody. Shocked, I say. Of course, it's defending a cis person from being called a trans person. He wouldn't do the other way around, right? Thank you, Stephanie, for being a 4-month member of Liberal Dan and being a Liberal Danimal. Happy Daniversary. Actually, to me, the First Lady of France is a far more beautiful woman than Candace. And I like to say Candace who? Can this fit in my mouth? Anyway, in fact, it's not even close. Or bankrupt Alex Jones, who says some of the dumbest things and lost his entire fortune as he should have for his horrendous attack on the families of Sandy Hook. Notice he probably never said that about him before he turned on him. I'm sure he was fine with Alex Jones talking about the families of the Sandy Hook massacre. But hey, it's just me. Susie, thank you for being a Liberal Danimal for 8 months. Happy Daniversary for you as well. These so-called pundits are losers. At least he spelled loser right. I mean, I'm a little shocked at that. Usually some people spell it losers. And they always will be. Now fake news CNN, the failing New York Times, and the other radical left news organizations are hailing them and giving them positive press for the first time in their lives. For the first time in forever. They are talking about those fools. Anyway, I love Frozen. I want to take over the land of Arendelle. It's also a nice white frozen land. And I'm going to take over Arendelle for the people of America. It's for security reasons. We have to deal with Queen Anna, or Queen Elsa, who is a horrible person who can't be trusted with her cold powers. Anyway, it's like Marjorie Trader Brown, but I no longer care about that stuff. I only care about doing what's right for our country. Yes, Donald Trump no longer cares about the stuff he just wrote a giant wall of text about. Sure, buddy, go ahead. MAGA is about winning in strength and not allowing Iran to have nuclear weapons. MAGA is about making America great again. Really, is that what MAGA stands for, you dumb shit? These people have no idea how to do that, but I do, because the United States is now the hottest country anywhere. This place has everything. Sorry. Anyway, like I should do next time there should be like, America is the hottest country in the world. The hottest country in the world is the United States of America. This place has everything. Crazy presidents, Dementia Don, everybody, Dan Cortez. Sorry. Anyway, so yeah, that ridiculous thing. So why is he flipping out about Megyn Kelly? Well, there was this. Well, he didn't name drop Joe once. Oh, I forgot to mention Sleepy Joe. Let's see. So here is Megyn Kelly. Remember, I've often been critical of Megyn Kelly simply for the fact that she actually started supporting Trump again after, you know, he made the you know, bleeding out of her eyes, bleeding out of whatever comments or whatever, you know, those, you know, horribly sexist words that he said. But here we go. Here's Megyn Kelly the other day.
Never to be brought back again. I don't want that to happen, but it probably will. However, now that we have complete and total regime change, where different, smarter, and less radicalized minds prevail, maybe something revolutionarily wonderful can happen. Who knows? We will.
I really think she should read his words like Trump does as well. She should try her Trump imitation because everybody should, right? Everybody should make fun of his voice and do the hand motions because that's what we do.
We'll find out tonight one of the most important moments in the long and complex history of the world. 47
Part 1, great movie. I love Mel Brooks. I love him.
7 years of extortion, corruption, and death will finally end. God bless the great people of Iran.
That sigh, just like, I mean, that's just like, I've realized now that I've been a dumb piece of shit for the last however many years.
Now, as you can imagine, that post did not go over well with the Iranians or with many Americans. I mean, I don't know about you, but I am sick of this shit.
I mean, well, sick of this. Wow. Jesus.
I'm sick of it. Can't he just be...
We found Megyn Kelly's line, y'all. You know, it's always interesting when you find a former Trump supporter's line. Like, it's always just where do they draw the line and how far does Trump have to go to say? I mean, clearly for Megyn Kelly, it's the threatening of the obliteration of the 93 million Iranians. So that's where Megyn Kelly draws the line. Not all the other bullshit that he's done, but, you know, that is enough for Megyn Kelly. What's going to be enough for the other folks who are still on Team Dementia Don? So...
behave like a normal human. I mean, honestly, like the president, I
mean, he's not a normal human. He's probably an alien life form. And maybe that's why he wants those documents released. Of course, no. The reason why he wants the alien documents released, or the UFOs or whatever it's called now, the new modern acronym for it, is that, again, it's another distraction from the Epstein files. So
3D chess. Shut up. Fucking shut up about that shit. You don't threaten to wipe out an entire civilization. We're talking about civilians just casually in a social media post. You know, like, I am the first to try to understand Trump and his strategy and to not freak out over his weird social media posts. And
well, maybe you should have. Maybe you should have used your brain and tried to figure out exactly, you know, the fact that when he says those things, he means those things. And this is not just, you know, him playing 3D chess or whatever. He's playing 3D chess, and it's like dumb dementia Donald. Those are the 3Ds of 3D chess.
And language that is loose and incendiary. Truly, I've lived with it for 10 plus years. I learned it the hard way when I was on the receiving end of it for 9 months. And truly, I think that was a gift to me in many ways because it...
But then you went back to being supportive of him and you helped him get elected again. So you didn't learn your lesson back then. You should have, but you didn't. But probably the reason that you did is because you were afraid that you would lose money. Because you were more than happy to praise and laud Donald Trump during the years between that and now, or until, I guess, the poop social post. You're more than happy to do that because you're probably afraid that you were going to lose viewers. But now, we've reached Megyn Kelly's line, y'all. We've reached the point where Megyn Kelly has said, I've had enough, and I'm not going to take it anymore.
Help me really come to understand what he does with his social media.
Donald Trump has never helped anybody to become anything.
Oh, my.
Sorry.
But this is completely irresponsible and disgusting. This is wrong. It's wrong. He should not be doing it. I don't care that it's his negotiation tactic is to kill an entire country full of civilians, men, women, and children. An American president so that the Strait of Hormuz will be opened. It's just...
And it's not even being opened because they're not being fair. I'm going to have to drop more bombs because, you know, we're dear moms that came to drop bombs. I've got more rhymes than the Bible's got psalms.
Wrong. It's not hard to say it. It's not hard to recognize it. I wish he would stop doing this.
There's only one way he's going to stop doing that, and that's when the blood clot kicks in.
Like, he can't negotiate without doing this? What does that say?
Nope. He can't do it with that without negotiating, because that's his way of negotiating. He is a giant bully, and you should know specifically that he's a giant bully because he bullied you. This is what bullies do. This is what happens when you give bullies power. They try and take more power, and they use that power and abuse that power to, harm people. But now you're magically coming to, you're realizing it. Not once has she yet said, I'm sorry for what I did to helping this man take power. Not one. I mean, maybe she does in a second. I don't know. I only saw a little clip of this one. I haven't seen the whole clip. But yeah, maybe you should apologize for the role that you played in allowing this shitbag to become president yet again.
About him? What does that say about the position that our country is in right now in these negotiations? He's got to say,
we're bent over the oil barrel. I won't kid you. I won't tell you wrong. Thank you, Cheryl, for being a liberal danimal. Appreciate you. Thank you, Cheryl, for being a liberal danimal. Sorry.
This? He can't be a dignified, strong leader?
No, he can't. Welcome to the world, Megyn Kelly. Welcome to reality. Wherever you've been living hasn't been reality if you don't understand that he's incapable of those things.
Without threatening a bunch of war crimes? As of this broadcast, the Strait of Hormuz is still closed. And
anyway, so that's that. That's Megyn Kelly finally reaching her breaking point, finally finding the line for where Donald Trump has gone too far. I mean, can you imagine if Biden gone too far and people on our side just allowed it to happen?
Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, whole numbers would flip. Had Biden done it, that scream foul play. But Trump did it, so it must be okay.
All right. This is a month away, or almost a month away. But based on some plans that I have or whatever, in early May, like I think the first full week of May, I probably will have the show on like Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday instead of Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And when we have the show on Tuesday, that day, on May 5th, you do not want to be late. I'm just going to tell you that right now. You do not want to be late to the May 5th show. And that means come 10 minutes early, because I say live at 8, but usually I start the music at 7:50, my time. You do not want to be late. That's all I'm going to say. Especially you, atrocious at every game. You don't want to be late either. I'm just going to say that right now. Yeah, you don't want to be late to that show. I promise you. I really, 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 really would love to play it now, but I can't. It has to wait till that day. I'm sorry. But, wait, heard oh my, wait. What oh my for what? But anyway, here's an oh my just for you.
Oh my.
No, you're not being told in private either. You have to wait like everybody else except for maybe my mods. Then anyway, and my wife. My wife knows. Gotta do a tease. Gotta do a long-term tease, right? Nope, the mods can't tell you. It's the Ides of March already. What? Would that be the Ides of May? Say no, Trump can't, and shame on you for voting for him and your followers. Yes, exactly, Stephen. Thank you. And welcome, Stephen. And Otis. And Bob LeBanc. See, and again, Cheryl for joining. Appreciate you. And let's see, did I miss Dawn? Good to see you, Dawn. Vasantha, I don't think I said hello. Scott, good to see you as well. Feel like I'm doing Romper Room again. Chad, most sense you've made in a while, Dan. Is that what, reading Donald Trump's bullshit from Propaganda Social, from Poop Social? Poop shithole? I don't know. Your birthday's on the 7th. Well, if you're here on the 7th, which is a Thursday, I'll sing you happy birthday. Because every time I see somebody's birthday, I say happy birthday. Hey, Goddess Kimchi, good to see you as well. Appreciate you. Hey, Squirrel Girl, appreciate you as well. I think I saw you at, you were someplace. I think I saw you during Chuck or John's live stream today. I've been trying to just have it kind of on in the background as I'm working, just so I can hear what people are saying. But Stephanie Miller, Tucker John, Hal, when possible. I'm trying to mix up what I listen to instead of just having on MSNBC or MS Now in the background at this point. But it's good to see everybody out and about in the Sparkler verse. So, let's see. Let's close this one. We don't need that there. Yes, you're right, Tucker Johns. Hey, look, my memory's not completely shot, so it is what it is. Let's see. All the different ways. Let's see. America has declared that they're victors of the war. According to this one on PBS or whatever, some people have talked about whatever gains took place in the Iran war, the U.S. has also suffered consequential losses, foreign policy experts have said. The war enabled Iran to use its geographic advantages to control and monetize traffic going through the Strait of Hormuz. Even with the ceasefire, Iran has effectively established itself as gatekeeper of the strait. That is a fundamentally different status quo than existed before the conflict. It also gives Tehran a durable form of economic leverage. In addition to oil, U.S. and other countries depend on commodities such as fertilizer, aluminum, and helium to make that passage. The strait's status remains unclear. In the ceasefire's aftermath, less than 24 hours, Trump announced the agreement. Iran's state-run news agency reported the country was closing the strait because of Israel's attacks on Lebanon. Foreign policy specialists cited other strategic setbacks for the U.S. The killing of Iranian leaders could lead to a more radicalized regime. The Iran war has strained the relationship between the U.S. and NATO allies who objected to not being consulted about the U.S.-Israeli attacks. The strains within NATO may bolster Russia by distracting the West from Russia's war against Ukraine and at least temporarily increasing prices for crude oil, a major Russian export and source of income. And the Iranian attacks on industrial and civilian targets in the Persian Gulf states like UAE, Bahrain, Qatar, and Kuwait might make other U.S. allies reconsider hosting U.S. forces because they could become targets in a future war. The Iran war could also become the most effective advertisement for nuclear weapons proliferation in decades. Iran faced this war precisely because it didn't yet have a nuclear weapon. If it had, the attack almost certainly wouldn't have happened. This is a concrete incentive structure that every government calculating its own security options is now weighing. In a more mundane way, the U.S. and its allies have used up large amounts of offensive and defensive munitions. I talked about that yesterday, including interceptors and long-range missiles. The supply will need to be rebuilt over time at significant expense. And also, I think, what was it? They said they lost like 12 planes over a 4-week period, and that may very well be the first time that the United States has lost 12 planes in that short of a period since the 40s. And I don't know what, I don't, 12 might not be the right number, but it's like the first time that that has happened since World War II. So, way to go, Donnie boy. That's so, you know, you said we'd be tired of winning. I absolutely am tired of your version of winning. So, let's see. So that. Another thing, let's see. Do we want to talk about that first, or let's not talk about that first. Let's talk about this one first. Yeah. Imagine if Biden refused to tell me a super juicy secret until May 5th.
Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, whole number would flip. Had Biden done it, that scream foul play. But Trump did it, so it must be okay.
Otis George, seems like the only person who's benefiting from this shit show is Vladimir Putin. I wonder why. We all know why. Because, you know, Donald Trump is Vladimir Putin's bitch. Anyway, DNC avoids taking stance on Israel or AIPAC. The members' latest vote reflects a party establishment still grappling with how to respond to an increasingly thorny political issue. Again, this is what I was talking about earlier, about Democrats trying to grasp defeat out of the jaws of victory. Democrats are once again punting on what to do about Israel. The DNC members rejected a symbolic resolution to limit the influence of AIPAC and dark money corporate groups in Democratic primaries, an unsurprising result that is nevertheless a blow to those within the party who have been infuriated by the pro-Israel group's recent interventions. They also punted on a pair of sweeping resolutions concerning Middle East conflicts that pushed the party to support conditioning military aid to Israel. The measures were referred to the party's nascent Middle East Working Group, which is meeting for the 4th time this week and has been slow to coalesce around an agenda. While the resolutions are not expected to pass, the outcomes reflect the party establishment still grappling with how to respond with the increasingly thorny politics around Israel and AIPAC and their base's sharp turn away from the longtime U.S. ally. The AIPAC resolution called for DNC to condemn the growing influence of dark money in Democratic elections, including from the pro-Israel group that has pumped tens of millions of dollars into recent primaries. Several members of the DNC's resolutions committee said they voted it down because they had passed a resolution earlier in their meeting broadly condemning the influence of dark money in midterms without calling out individual groups. Committee members similarly struck language from the catch-all dark money resolution that had singled out the glut of spending from AI and cryptocurrency-aligned PACs. Ken Martin, DNC chair, amplified that message on Twitter. We had various resolutions that focus on different industries and groups, and instead of going one by one, we passed a blanket repudiation. I've made my position on this clear from day one. We must end the influence of dark money in our politics and restore power back to the people. Pro-Israel groups applauded the DNC for quashing the non-binding resolution. DNC made it clear today that all Democrats, including millions who are AIPAC members, have the right to participate fully in the democratic process, and we plan to do just that. Of course, you know, I'm not a fan of AIPAC. I'm a Jewish guy. I'm not a fan of AIPAC because they are a conservative group, and maybe they back some Democratic candidates in some races, but that's because they want to have influence over people, but they are nonetheless a conservative group. And they are a group that's going to continue to want people to support Israel, even the Israeli government, even when the Israeli government is committing war crimes. Specifically war crimes, especially war crimes that are meant to, you know, distract everybody from Benjamin Netanyahu's problems. Because we predicted that here on Liberal Land Radio, Talk from Left, That's Right, before it was even announced that that the Netanyahu administration could very well have known about this and wouldn't have done shit about it because they would have wanted to react to an attack rather than stop one, because that would be a better distraction from Netanyahu's criminal trial. And what happened? That exact same thing happened. Why? Because sometimes I actually know my shit. See, there are misconceptions because they're a vocal far-left faction of the party, but they are in no way leading here. The DNC as a whole has not shifted from where it's been in an organization that is inclusive of Jewish Americans. You don't have to be supportive of the actions of the Israeli government or of the conservative PAC, AIPAC, and in order to be inclusive of Jewish Americans. There are plenty of Jewish Americans who have major problems with what the Israeli government is doing, myself included. So again, what that statement there is helping to perpetuate, and this is Haley Soifer, a former Kamala Harris advisor and CEO of the Jewish Democratic Council of America, suggested that the vote showed the party hasn't shifted. Again, Soifer is saying an organization inclusive of Jewish Americans and supportive of the U.S.-Israeli security relationship. Again, you are doing, as a Jewish person, so I'll be more critical of Soifer, because as a Jewish person, you are perpetuating this myth that support for Israel and support for Jews are the same thing. We should not be doing that because that gives other people an excuse to conflate the two, when the idea itself that supporting or opposing Israel is opposing Jews, that idea itself is anti-Semitic. And there are times when Jews support anti-Semitic people and anti-Semitic things to the detriment of Jewish people as a whole, which includes all those Jews that supported Donald Trump after he said anti-Semitic bullshit, like if he lost the 2024 election, that we would be to blame, that Jews would be to blame. That's what he said on a conference about anti-Semitism. He basically pulled out a giant anti-Semitic comment in front of a conference on anti-Semitism. You blanketly blame Jews if you would have lost? That's anti-Semitic. Former Florida Democrat Allison Minnerly, who introduced the AIPAC resolution, argued there's merit to calling out different PACs with intention, given their individual efforts to influence party elections. She said in an interview after the vote she was unsurprised but disappointed in the results. DNC leadership really does not want to continue having this conversation, but our voters, our base does. These are hard questions on a local, national level. And here's the other thing. Here's the important thing that I feel the need to point out. and I'll say this, I've said this before, I'll say it again. I'm all for moving every district as left as possible. And sometimes that includes supporting centrists. Sometimes that includes supporting even right-leaning, like Cuellar from Texas, right-leaning Democrats. Democrats who, I don't necessarily agree with, but if we want to have control of the country again, we need a broad coalition of people. But the answer is not to make the whole party go to the right. That's not the answer, because going to the right isn't going to do anything good for the party or for marginalized and oppressed people. The Democratic Party going to the right just shifts the Overton window to the right. We need to move to the left and make sure to get enough people on the left to don't give the people on the left reasons to not fucking show up. Now, will I be critical of the far leftists, the people who are to the far left of me? And I consider myself a leftist, but the people who are to the far left of me, am I going to criticize them for not showing up and not voting to take away power from this MAGA regime? Abso-fucking-lutely, I will. But don't give them excuses to do so either. Move to the left, and then explain to the people in center why they should be coming to the left with us. Why all of those things, like the Republicans' attacks on DEI, like being inclusive of trans rights, like, being inclusive of, making sure that we protect gay marriage rights still, why all of those things are not harmful to you in the center, or are not harmful to working class Americans. Not going to have an effect on most working class Americans any day of the week. But the conservatives and the MAGA folks have done a job trying to convince them to vote for the right because they feel that the right is correct on those things. But instead of dealing with that and defending your stances, these certain Democrats are giving up and calling surrender on those stances. And that's not only losing a teachable moment to the people in the center, to the people in the middle, to the working class folks, where you can explain to them why the Republican Party absolutely does not have your back. The Republican Party is not the party of the working class man or woman or non-binary individual. The Republican Party is the party of the corporate elites. The Democratic Party needs to return back to being the party of the people, of the people, that is going to support marginalized and oppressed people, and also support the working class, and have people who are in the working class who are not marginalized or oppressed standing tall, amplifying the voices of the marginalized and oppressed people, because that's the way we make true social progress and true social change. So, again, the Democratic Party is seemingly trying to find ways. Now, if I was a conspiracy theorist, I might even think that maybe there was some nefarious work back here where people trying to throw this issue in to try and make the Democratic Party have to do a vote or a non-vote to see who they're going to lose. All this crap does is help Trump and help the Republican Party. We need to be laser focused on fixing the problems that are going on with this country, and the only way you start fixing it is by taking back the House, by taking back the Senate, and by making sure that we can stop Donald Trump in his tracks, unless his health issues stop him for us. So, exactly, Cosmic Rose. That means the people all need to vote, 100%. Let's see, Cosmic Rose. In 50 minutes, I must watch a live stream about the Anthropic release Project Glasswing to the big tech partners so they can begin patching. Some, like FMMPG, receive patch fixes from Mythos. The implications of this is mind-boggling. That many of the holes were in the open source like Linux. That means that they could break into any server. Every OS has a hole, and now they receive the findings from this. Wow. That sounds up my alley, actually, up my nerdy alley. So we'll have to do that. I did see your message on Blue Sky, Cosmic Rose, as well. I will get back to you, obviously, after the show. Chad says, we are far beyond being a two-party system. It's all the same party, bro. The party of politicians. I mean, no. I mean, I understand. I mean, I did make the comment about, can you really trust any politician? Because, how do you know a politician is lying? Their lips are moving, that sort of thing. When I said earlier about, I trust Jayapal on that particular issue. Not that I trust any politician, because, again, are they really that trustworthy? That being said, there are differences between the two parties. It's not the same fucking bird. It's not two wings of the same bird. It's a vulture and a dove. It's a horrible, gangrenous, pus-filled, vulture that has brain-addled dementia or whatever, as compared to, a nice, beautiful, bird that wants peace. I don't know. Let's see. If stories of Trump reactivating the military draft by December aren't true, there should be a boons for Dems in November. Well, that's probably why they waited till December 18th to do it. But they're not really reinstating the draft. All that's been announced, and of course, what's been announced and what they intend are two different things, obviously. But they're just trying to make it automatic for the draft. So you sign up. So instead of you having to sign up for selective service, you then have to. You'll be automatically signed up for selective service. But if they mess it up and you don't get signed up for selective service because they had a bug in their system, guess what? You could still get in trouble. So, kimchi. It's the Gorgon versus 11. Great reference. Yes, absolutely 100% true. That is a good analogy for anybody who's watched Stranger Things. If you haven't watched Stranger Things, go watch Stranger Things. Let's see. Let's go bring this on, because I did bring up Bobby Jindal earlier and how Melania entered the screen from walking from between the doorways all the way back. Like, why did you have to show that? But we are going to now show. I don't know why this is being. Let's see. There we go. That's better. So. This is J.D. Vance on the tarmac.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. So,
now, is it just me? I don't know. Either the camera's, different or whatever, but to me, that seems like he's in front of a blue screen. I don't know. I mean, maybe he's probably not, but for some reason, the way it just looks like he's in front of a blue screen. I don't know. But also, notice how, he had to come into camera frame and be like, hey, it's me. I'm like, really, dude? You have to be that theatrical with it? Come on. Oh, hold on. What are the Democrats fighting for then? All I see is what they're fighting against. Big distinction. So, let's go back to the 40s, 1940s, and say, and we were like, we have to take out Adolf Hitler. We have to destroy the Nazis. Would a correct response be, well, what is America really for? They're just against the Nazis. Sometimes being against the Nazis is being for something. Like, being against how Donald Trump is acting in government is being for something. It's being supportive of the people, who he's harming, like internally and externally. That whole thing of just being against, it's a strong position to be against a shithead of a president who is threatening war crimes, who is a literal terrorist because he threatened to, I'm going to kill 93 million people, or at least make it inhospitable for 93 people to live in Iran. That is terrorism. That's collective punishment. That's a war crime. Being against war crimes is a good thing to be against. And there are plenty of things that Democrats are for. We support abortion rights. Now, you could frame that as, if I say I'm supportive of abortion rights, then that means I'm against these abortion laws. That means you're against something. Or if I say that I'm against these laws, that they've been these draconian abortion laws that have been passed after Dobbs v. Jackson, you're just against this. No, I'm against them because I support body autonomy. I support the right of individuals to make determinations for themselves about their bodies. We support LGBTQA rights. We support the rights of the working man to have a living wage. We support the rights of people to have access to health care and not have to go bankrupt when a health issue comes in. Trust me, I believed that before these past 3 years, and now I'm even more so. Because, holy shit, this is going to be another expensive year for me. But still, but if the vital urgency of this country is to make sure that Donald Trump has less power, then that's being for something because it's being pro-America. That's the patriotic stance. It's not patriotic to support Donald Trump. It never was, but it clearly isn't now. Anyway, Let's see. Here's what I'm for: universal health care, the federal living wage, universal pre-K, universal state and university and trade schools, end the fucking wars, equal rights amendment, codify Roe v. Wade, expand the fucking court, massive investment in renewable energy and build on the IRA, cut taxes for middle lower income people, maybe exempting the first 50K in income, tax income above $1 billion at 91%. Sounds to me. You make a reasonable argument, but it's from the position of extremism, and over half the country doesn't live in extremism view. But that's the thing. But did you miss everything I just said? We need to, you know, again, that's what a lot of times Republicans will call an 80-20 issue, where only 20% of the people are affected or care about the things. Well, maybe sometimes you need to make the argument as to why a higher percentage of the people in this country should care. Like, women being able to vote, for example, was not something that, you know, that would affect 100% of that current voting population. But we still did it because it was the right thing to do, and we convinced enough people to be supportive of it because it was the right thing to do. And it had some good results, not only by giving women the same ability to have a say in our political structure as men did, but also when you gave women the vote, it actually improved health outcomes of children. Health outcomes, I should say, of children. Let's reword that. When women got the right to vote, by giving them the power, and because at the time, you know, you still had the old, you know, views of, oh, the man is the breadwinner, the woman stays home, but still, the women staying home, but given the power to vote, are now being able to lobby their politicians and say, hey, we need these things to make sure health outcomes for children are better. And they got it done. And health outcomes for children became much better because women got the right to vote. Simple as that. Anyway, you say it's totally not the same, Chad. I see many, many, many parallels. And I'm seeing more people on my friends list who were calling me crazy 12 years ago, or whatever, 10 years ago. They called me crazy 10 years ago, and now they're like, oh, maybe we made a mistake calling Dan crazy. So, let's see. Again, here's J.D. Vance at the airport.
What's the main camera? Is it this one? Okay, sounds good. So, we just had a great trip to Hungary, and first of all, I want to thank Viktor Orban, and most of all, I want to thank the Hungarian people for being so hospitable and so kind. We came here fundamentally to try to...
Can you imagine if President Biden had sent his vice president to go help a horrible, ruthless leader of another country?
Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, whole numbers would flip. Had Biden done it, the screen fell play, but Trump did it, so it must be okay.
Human Rights Foundation says nearly 30 years after the end of communism, the tightening stranglehold of Prime Minister Viktor Orban and his oligarch allies have had on key sectors of Hungary's media has inspired a group of activists to relaunch a modern version of Samizdat, a clandestine publication created by dissidents in the Soviet era. On a recent day, activists handed out copies of the publication to passengers on an outbound train at Budapest's Keleti station, hoping copies would reach people in rural areas whose main source of news comes from the heavily controlled state news outlets. Yet this act of resistance is unlikely to do much to shake the rule of 54-year-old Viktor Orban, who has centralized power for his conservative Fidesz party over 8 years of rule and seems to set to win a third consecutive term in April's elections. Of course, some other people are saying that Viktor Orban is, you know, potentially at threat, and that's why Donald Trump sent J.D. Vance over to help, you know, Donald Trump's good buddy, Viktor Orban. So...
to counteract some of the propaganda coming from the bureaucracy in Brussels. I've never seen something like it, where you have the bureaucracy of the EU trying to impose costs on the Hungarian people in order to sway the result of an election. I think that's absurd. The president thinks it's absurd. Viktor obviously has the president's full support, my full support. And
again, imagine, we're not going to play it again, but imagine had Biden sent Kamala Harris to go, you know, help somebody else's elections, and how much they would shit bricks. I thought they were not supposed to be involved in foreign entanglements, right? Isn't MAGA against foreign entanglements? Supposedly, the America First crowd. But not only are we invading Iran and attacking Iran, excuse me, hold on. not only are we attacking Iran, or had we attacked Iran, now we're involving ourselves in the internal politics of, of course, Venezuela and all the other stuff. We're now involving ourselves in the election of Viktor Orban. Like, come on, dude. Like, this is absurd. Is it going to be the United States and, Donald Trump and Viktor Orban, the United States and Hungary, and who else are going to be involved in the axis of evil at this point, right?
We wish him and the Hungarian people the best. So I'm sad to leave, but excited to get back.
We wish the Hungarian people the best. It seems to me that the best for the Hungarian people would be to get rid of Orban.
So let me just say, given that you guys are going to ask about Iran, let me just say a few things actually. So number one, I think it's very important for the American media to be honest with the American people on this particular issue, because it affects not just.
I mean, they try to be honest, but you all try to block them every single step of the way, right? I mean, you insult them at press conferences, you make them sign like loyalty pledges or whatever it is to not report certain things in order for them to get access to Pentagon briefings or whatever.
Our technology makes coal 7 to 10 times more valuable than it is today. While
the normal issues of public policy, it actually affects peace and war. And here's what I mean. So in the past couple of days, I've seen a lot of reporting from the American media about the 10-point proposal that the Iranians have made. Now, as I know, because I've been involved in this, there are 3 different 10-point proposals at least that I've seen floating around.
That's 30 points, much less, much fewer than the 1,000 points of light of George H.W. Bush. Anyway.
The first 10-point proposal was something that was submitted, and we think, frankly, was probably written by ChatGPT, that was submitted to Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. That immediately went in the garbage and was rejected. There was a second 10-point proposal that was much more reasonable, that was based on some back and forth between us, between the Pakistanis, and between the Iranians. That is the 10-point proposal that the president was referencing in his truth yesterday. And then, frankly, I've seen a third 10-point proposal that's even more maximalist than the first 10-point proposal that's been floating around various social media channels. Now, here's...
And it's fake news. All of it's fake news.
What's interesting about all this is...
What is word salad for 500? Exactly. Wait, let's see. What actually separates people from succeed who stalls persistence? You don't need to be exceptional every day. You need to be consistent, stay determined, stay emotion. That's where the power comes from. Persistent wins. Show up, take action, finish, repeat. Consistency beats talent. Clarity, priorities. Remove one obstacle. Coach, reinforce. Repeat tomorrow. Most don't. Good idea. Hey, Super Miles, thank you for the saying. A cool podcast. Appreciate you. Maybe let's continue.
I've seen various organs. The New York Times, CNN.
Various organs? He's seen various organs?
Oh my.
What are they doing in the White House that they're not telling us about? Is that why they don't want the media to have access?
Pick up and run the original 10-point proposal based on little more than a random Yahoo in Iran submitting it to public access television in the country of Iran, and then them saying that somehow represents the negotiating position.
Hey, leave me alone, Mike. Thank you for becoming a liberal Danimal. Appreciate you. Welcome to the group of Danimals.
Of the government. It's the equivalent of somebody in, let's say, a Democratic councilman in Boise, Idaho, saying something crazy, the local public access TV picking up that crazy statement, and then the New York Times running that as the position of the President of the United States.
Like the MAGA folks never do that? I mean, that's what y'all always do. You find some crazy leftist who, like you take that one picture of that one person with the glasses and the hat who's like that, and you make that representative of all of the people on the left. Like, just that one still frame picture. I mean, that's what y'all do all the time. Every Republican accusation is a confession. Simple as that.
It doesn't make an ounce of sense. What's happening on the ground in Iran is that you have clearly the position of the government, which is to negotiate with the United States of America. You have the position of the President of the United States, which is to send the negotiators to Pakistan and engage in this good faith negotiation. And then...
Good faith. That's a good one. You should also be a stand-up comedian there, Vancey boy. make sure to make some couch puns.
Yes, you have some crazy people at the fringes of the Iranian system who are leaking anonymously either for propaganda purposes or because they're embarrassed or because they don't like what happened. And the final point, when I say they don't like what happened, what we know is that the United States accomplished its military objectives. What
Did it? I mean, when you move the goalpost, sure.
we know is the United States could have imposed significant additional military.
I mean, the United States doesn't have possession of the uranium, does it? If it doesn't, then no, we haven't accomplished the actual goals of eliminating the ability of Iran to be able to go after a nuclear weapon. But, you know, don't let facts get in the way of your propaganda there, Chief.
Military and economic.
Yeah, who doesn't love a good cushion? When J.D. Vance hears more cushion for the pushing, he's like, oh. And then, you know, then he hears about the Ottomans. Oh, my.
In Iran and still has the capacity to do so.
Hey, Joe, good to see you.
But we thankfully, at this point, I think, have a ceasefire, thanks to the leadership of the President of the United States. We have the Iranians promising to open...
The leadership. That's not leadership, that's terrorism. Again, threatening to wipe 93 million people off the map and destroy the Iranian civilization to never be rebuilt again or whatever. That's not leadership, that's terrorism.
The Straits of Hormuz, and we have a negotiation that's supposed to start this weekend. That's the truth. I think it's a good first step. We're going to see if we can make more progress here in the days.
Joe in the chat says, Trump has lost my support. I really believe he has fallen off his rocker. Again, we talked about where we played the Megyn Kelly clip earlier, where Megyn Kelly clip, her line was drawn apparently at the threat of taking out 93 million people in Iran. That was her line. Apparently, we've also crossed Joe Gibson's line as well. I mean, good to have you on the good side, at least on the Trump issue, right? So I'll take it when I can get it. But it is good to see that people, even as conservative as Joe in the chat, are willing to say publicly, I am not supporting Trump anymore. And yes, he has absolutely fallen off his rocker. I mean, Dementia Don, I think, is fitting at this point, right?
So you're negotiating partners.
Go ahead, yeah. Go.
There seems to be a disagreement about whether Lebanon was included in this proposal. And the Speaker of the Parliament, who you're going to sit across from the table from in Islamabad, has just said that he thinks negotiations will be unreasonable while that war is ongoing. So would you ask Israel to hold off strikes to allow some to respond?
Well, first of all, I know there's been some conversations between the Israelis and the leadership of our country today. I haven't been involved in that because I've been busy doing stuff in Hungary.
I've been busy trying to sway the foreign election. Like, we said we weren't going to be involved in foreign entanglements, but here's J.D. Vance, the Vice President of the United States, involving himself in a foreign election. America first, right?
I'm actually supposed to get an update when I get on the plane, but let me say a couple things. First of all, I actually think, and there's a lot of bad faith negotiation and a lot of bad faith, propaganda going on. I think this...
a lot of that bad faith is coming from you-know-who posting, stuff on Truth Social instead of actually just letting the diplomats handle the diplomacy. But no, Donald Trump has to be it's gotten to the point where if Donald Trump remains silent on Truth Social for more than 12 hours, people are going to be like, did it happen? I mean, come on.
Comes from a legitimate misunderstanding. I think the Iranians thought that the ceasefire included Lebanon, and it just didn't. We never made that promise. We never indicated that was going to be the case. What we said is that the ceasefire would be focused on Iran, and the ceasefire would be focused on America's allies, both Israel and the Gulf Arab states. Now, that said, the Israelis, as I understand it, again, I'm supposed to get a fuller report when I get on the plane, have...
I don't know everything about it, but I'm still going to make a point anyway because Republicans can't shut up.
Actually offered to be, frankly, to check themselves a little bit in Lebanon because they want to make sure that our...
Wait, Vance, it is good to be the king. It's good to be the king.
Negotiation is successful. That's not because that is part of the ceasefire. I think that's the Israelis trying to set us up for success.
Yeah, Distant Galaxy 13. Why would a ceasefire include everything but Lebanon? JD is a moron. It makes sense that, the whole war started in Lebanon, and the people that are going at the Hezbollah fighters that Israel's going after in Lebanon are funded by Iranian money. So it seems like they're connected just a little bit, just a smidge, right?
We'll, of course, see how that unfolds in the next few days. But look, if Iran wants to let this
Fans saying, de Monet,
negotiation fall apart in a conflict where they were getting hammered over Lebanon, which has nothing to do with them and which the United States
nothing to do with them. You just proved you're a fucking idiot, J.D. Vance.
never once said was part of the ceasefire. That's ultimately their choice. We think that would be dumb, but that's their choice.
Mr. Vice President, Iran is continuing to block the Straits of Hormuz. Do you have an
They're blocking the straits, but not the gays. It's like another Straits of Hormuz comment.
expectation of when that strait is going to be open?
Well, we've already seen an increase in traffic today. Hopefully we'll see an increase in traffic tomorrow. We actually think that we are seeing signs that the straits is starting to reopen. I think you guys have probably seen oil prices have come down, so I think
They're going back up after the uncertainty today, but you know, hey.
the oil markets, the gas markets are seeing the same thing.
Yeah, they're going back up today. And stocks are dropping a little bit again because of the uncertainty and how they don't trust that Donald Trump is actually going to, follow through.
The president's been very, very clear. The deal is a ceasefire, a negotiation. That's what we give. And what they give is the straits are going to be reopened. If we don't see
Again, J.D. Vance with the straits.
that happening, the president is not going to abide by our terms if the Iranians are not abiding by their terms.
Mr. Vice President.
Wait. Swap that, reverse it, maybe? I don't know. It's a distant galaxy. You know what's really irritating is how quickly J.D. Vance, Trump, and all these idiots in charge were for Biden dropping the ball on XYZ, and then they are 10 times worse. Exactly, because...
Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, whole numbers would flip. Had Biden done it, that scream foul play. But Trump did it, so it must be okay.
Exactly. They love to talk about meritocracy and hiring the best, and they duck up every step of the way. There's that, yes, and especially when they start firing highly qualified or denying promotions to highly qualified members of the military under claiming it's because they were only promoted because of some woke agenda.
Caroline Levitt said you played a key role in these talks. Could you help us understand some details about that role, and do you think your well-known opposition to foreign wars generally was a factor that made you a key player in this?
My heart's fine.
I'm only 40.
I mean, it does make sense that you'll see an advertisement for Bayer for headache medicine while Vance is getting interviewed. I mean, but it's not, Bayer is aspirin, it's not...
well, let's see how we say that. Acetaminophen.
Ignoring your heart health risk.
Well, I appreciate Carolyn saying that. I mean, my key role was I sat on the phone a lot. I answered a lot of phone calls. I made a lot of phone calls. And again,
right from my couch, spoke very softly, in hushed tones, listening to smooth jazz.
I'm happy about where we are. I think the president has struck a good deal for the American people, but fundamentally, the Iranians have got to take the next step, or the president has a lot of options.
The only deal that he struck was to manipulate the stock market so that he can, buy and sell as it is appropriate.
To go back to the war.
Who whispered in JD's ears? I don't know. The Sofa King?
Do you know if Iranians requested that you join the talks?
I don't know that. I would be surprised if that was true. But, I wanted to be involved because I thought I could make a difference. And obviously...
And I heard they had great couches over there.
I think the people really on the ground doing the day-to-day negotiating have been Steve and Jared. They've done a great job. But we're going to keep on working this as a team, as we always have. Pete's been very helpful with the various military elements of this. Marco's obviously been extremely involved. We work as a team. We work effectively. And...
There's no I in team unless the I is me, then there is.
Yeah, I've been on the phone a lot the past couple of days, but we're glad to be where we are.
Mr. Vice President, how is the United States accomplishing its stated objective of ensuring Iran doesn't have a nuclear weapon ever, but they still have highly enriched uranium? And what's the plan?
As I said.
To get uranium back?
Well, look, I mean, this is one of the things that's going to be one of the main subjects of negotiation is that we want Iran to not be able to make a nuclear weapon.
Yeah, Josh sees he's in the Persian rugs now. He probably takes the Persian rugs and puts them together with the couches and has a nice little furniture store orgy or something.
Oh my.
We want the nuclear fuel, which is something the president has made very clear. And there, again, the way to think about this is the United States has certain demands and certain things that we want. The Iranians have things they can get out of the negotiation. The more that they're willing to give us, I think the more they're going to get things out of this negotiation. The president's talked about sanctions.
I told the Iranians very simply, put out or get out.
The president's talked about economic partnerships and things like that. That's not going to happen unless the Iranians make a firm commitment to stop anything close to the development.
Do your job, lazy boy. 25th Amendment, your boss.
Of a new
Disakazi. I told the Iranians, gas, grass, or ass.
nuclear weapon. And frankly, the president has all the cards here. We've got a lot of leverage. We got a lot.
We have all the cards. They don't have any cards. I love talking about the cards. I love it. I love talking cards because I made a lot of money bankrupting casinos on cards because it wasn't about the fact that I was a bad businessman, but I'm a con man. And I'd left lots of people holding the bag while I cashed out and made lots of money.
A lot of things that we can do, but right now, I think we're in a good spot.
Is the threat to wipe Iranian civilization off the map still on the table? Is it fair to keep 90 million Iranians under that threat for the actions of their leaders?
Well, look, the leadership is really to blame for the condition of the country in Iran. The president.
Look at what you made me do. That's literally what he's saying. He's like, look at what you're making us do. That's the words of what an abusive husband would say to their spouse, and that's the word of what an abusive dictator says to the people of another country. Oh, it's their fault that I dropped so many bombs that it decimated the entire place and made it unlivable. It's their fault. It's not my fault. I had to do it. You made me do it. That's the language of an abuser.
The president of the United States has made very clear that the United States has a lot of leverage here. We have economic leverage, we've got military leverage. What he's trying to do is make sure the American people are safe and strike a deal that's good.
We weren't unsafe. And there's no reason there's no reason to attack.
For the American people.
Especially after you obliterated it last year, right? You obliterated their nuclear capabilities last year, except it didn't get rid of the uranium, and apparently they still had abilities, so you had to bomb again, and then you'll have to bomb again, because Donald Trump is a failed leader.
Well, I just, look, I encourage the Iranians to come to the table seriously.
Exactly, Jen. Basically blaming somebody for wearing a short skirt. Exactly.
We've seen some signs that they're going to do that. We've seen some signs of bravado.
It is the woman's fault that I grabbed them by the hoo-ha. They shouldn't have had a hoo-ha in the first place. I wouldn't have had to grab it.
Fundamentally, we're in a good
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate you.
spot. They're reopening the straits. We have a ceasefire, and frankly...
Oh, here comes another frickin' ad that I'm not making money for. I don't run ads during my show, but...
If they break their end of the bargain, then they're going to see some serious consequences.
Wiping them off the map is different than an economic leverage or military leverage. Why is that kind of language useful in this kind of scenario?
Well, again, the President of the United States is saying that unless the Iranians do the right thing, he is going to have some serious consequences for the regime. We obviously don't...
Unless they do something that I want them to do, I'm going to kill you all. Be like, you know, what Jeff Dunham. Silence! I kill you!
Want the people of Iran to suffer, but we have a lot of leverage the President of the United States could use, and it's why I think it's so important.
Yeah. Thank you for the bits, Alyosha and Jen. Appreciate you. But we have a lot of leverage. We have a lot of possibilities of things that we could do that don't involve the threatening of wiping 93 million people off the fucking map. And you can't sit there and tell Iran that they're wrong for killing supposedly 45,000 people in the streets and then go and kill 93 million of them, or make the entire area inhospitable and, you know, make them not be able to have water to drink, make them not have electricity, and then make them not be able to get, you know, ambulances all around the place because you drop their bridges or whatever. And I'm sure they're going to target the hospitals too. Why not? Because that's what they would do. And, you know, make it so that many, many more than 45,000 people pass away because of, your actions.
Negotiators in good faith.
Okay, X has been abuzz the last couple of days with the Blue Press story saying that senior Pentagon officials in January, including Rich Colby, brought Cardinal Pierre into the Pentagon.
Brought who?
Cardinal Christophe Pierre into the Pentagon.
I haven't seen this story, unfortunately.
And essentially the reporting by the Free Press is that they told him that the American military has a lot of might and they can do whatever they want, and the church should get on its side.
And if you don't do it, we'll have to take out the church too. I'll go after the Vatican if I have to. Watch, he'll like try and get around and attack the Vatican now because of the Catholic Church being against Donald Trump's, basically the current Pope is a refugee from his own country because, he basically is not seen as being welcome as long as Donald Trump is president of these United States. But yeah, can you imagine? Donald Trump starts talking about the horrible abuse that the higher ups in the papacy allowed and fostered, that rape culture in the Catholic Church. They allowed it to happen. Imagine Donald Trump then being critical of the Catholic Church while still not releasing all the Epstein files. I mean, that would be rich and rife with hypocrisy, right?
Does that message sound correct to you? Is that something you would sign off on?
So one, I with no disrespect to the Cardinal, I don't know who Cardinal Christophe Pierre is.
He's the ambassador to the Holy See and the U.S.
Oh, okay. I've met him before. Sorry, I just didn't remember the
I don't
name.
know who he is. Now I know who he is. I don't know. I do know.
I've never seen this reporting. I'd like to actually talk to Cardinal Christophe Pierre and, frankly, to our people to figure out what actually happened. I think it's always a bad idea to offer an opinion on stories that are unconfirmed and uncorroborated, so I'm not going to do that.
Mr. Reichert, on the question of
So at least he's a smidge better than Trump, which is a very, 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 very low bar.
Iran's enriched uranium, do you see a scenario in which the administration may be willing to agree to allow Iran to continue enriching uranium for civilian nuclear purposes?
Well, look, what the president has said is that we don't want Iran to have the capacity to build a nuclear.
We'll let him have the nuclear fissionable materials to use for civilian purposes as long as I get a cut.
Weapon. The president's also said that we don't want Iran enriching towards a nuclear weapon, and we want Iran to give up the nuclear fuel. Those are going to be our demands during the negotiation, and again, we're going to
They're not going to do that. Watch.
See what the Iranians are willing to give up. If they make a good faith effort to actually give us the things that we need to have a successful negotiation for the security of the American people, I think there's a lot on the other end. If they don't give us what we need, then I think it's going to be bad, but I'm optimistic that the...
And look, I will say this, and I will be consistent with everything that I say. I try to be at least consistent with everything I say. We talked about how people don't know how to negotiate, and often it's the Democrats that don't know how to negotiate. And if these clowns, despite Donald Trump, come up with a list of actual demands that they want, knowing that they're willing to, not accept, let's say they give A through F, and they're like, okay, well, E, F, we're willing to give up E and F as long as we get A through D, right? Like if they did that, and it ended up that they got to keep some of the fissionable material for nuclear power plants or whatever, that's a reasonable negotiation tactic. That is a reasonable negotiation tactic. That is using, diplomacy to try and get your differences, aside and say, okay, this is what you're going to give us. This is what you're going to get for it. That's how you do negotiations. Not, I'm going to bomb the shit out of you and make it inhospitable for 93 million people. That's not negotiations. That's terrorism.
Iranians are going to be smart, that they're going to negotiate in good faith.
And your negotiating partner in Iran, and Kevin sort of asked about this already, but he essentially is saying that they're distrustful of the U.S. for, he tweeted out that 3 of the 10 points in the ceasefire framework have already been violated. They're distrustful of the U.S. What do you make of him tweeting that out before negotiation?
So I thought it was interesting, actually, because
in reality, it's like I smacked my head and said, what the fuck are you doing, Donald? But then I can't say that publicly because then he'll fire me as vice president and replace me with somebody else. And I won't have access to all the executive branch's couches.
I did see that tweet from Ghalibaf actually just a couple of minutes ago. And...
oh, Jesus Christ.
First of all, he said that there are a few points of disagreement before the negotiations. Well, That must mean that there's a lot of points of agreement because there's a 15-point
Oh, look at that spin.
plan.
I'm dizzy now from that spin.
Around. There's a 10-point plan floating around. If he's frustrated,
Distant galaxies. Introducing your new VP, Rudy Giuliani. I mean, it could be Giuliana, right? I mean, that was Rudy did dress up in a dress for old Donald, right?
about 3 issues, that actually means that there's a lot of agreement. That's point number 1. Point number 2, to respond to each of those issues, and I read it very closely. Let me just say this. I actually wonder how good he is at understanding English, because there are things that he said that frankly didn't make sense in the context of the negotiations that we've had. But to address the 3 points, first of all, he talked about an attack that had allegedly happened on Iran and how that was a violation of the ceasefire. Ceasefires are always messy. An hour after the president announced the ceasefire, the Iranians launched a bunch of missiles. Then the Israelis responded. Then some of the Gulf Arab states responded. This is the nature of a ceasefire. No ceasefire ever goes without a little bit of choppiness. What we have been very clear about is that we want to stop the bombing. We want our allies to stop the bombing. And with you,
we didn't stop the bombing. Sorry.
We want the Iranians to do the same thing. We're seeing evidence that things are going in the right direction, but it's going to take a little time. The second thing Golubov said, which again I found fascinating, is he said, we refuse to give up the right to enrichment. And I thought to myself, you know what? My wife has the right to skydive, but she doesn't jump out of an airplane because she and I have an agreement that she's not going to do that because I don't want my wife jumping out of an airplane.
That's what I was talking about when it comes to J.D. Vance being sexist. I don't want my wife to do something, so we have an agreement because I don't want her to do it. I'm sure she didn't want you flirting around with Charlie Kirk's widow either, but you did it, right? I mean, come on. But, you know, at least that's what it looks like to us, right? But yeah, so I don't want my wife to do something, so we have an agreement that she won't do it. That doesn't sound like an agreement. That sounds like you put your foot down and told her, and she was like, okay. You know, that in and of itself is also seems to be abusive. Like, if my wife wants to do something, I'm not going to tell her she can't do it. Like, you know, unless there was like a literal issue, like, you know, I want to do this, and I'm like, well, health-wise, you can't do that right now, and that's fine. But still, if you know, I'm not going to sit here and try and be the boss of my spouse. You're supposed to be a partnership in a marriage. It's not you dictating to your spouse what your spouse is going to do or not going to do. So this is why I said in the show, you know, description or whatever, that J.D. Vance is absolutely sexist with that. And that's like, men like that are why men get a bad name. And rightly so, because, you know, you should be in a partnership with your spouse, not I'm the dictator of the house.
We don't really concern ourselves with what they claim they have the right to do.
Distant galaxy. She promised to remain in the kitchen where she belongs. We have an agreement. That's the same, yeah, basically the same type of thing.
We concern ourselves with what they actually do, and I think the president's been very clear on the...
Fansan, what did JD agree not to do for his wife? Did he agree not to do Erica Kirk?
Oh my.
Enrichment question, our position on that has not changed. I think the third thing that he said was Lebanon, okay? And again, I actually think that is a reasonable misunderstanding, but neither us nor the Israelis said that was going to be part of...
Distant galaxy, he promised to not destroy the 5th set of couches.
The ceasefire again.
JD, why is the couch sticky?
And we're working with people to try to get through some of these things, but it's really fundamentally we're on the right track. We got a lot more to do. We got a lot more that the Iranians are going to have to accept as part of this negotiation, but I think we've got a strong hand and we're going to play it well. Thank you.
Now, if you excuse me, I'm going to go have a date with a couch in the plane back there.
That the talks won't happen?
At least he walked away from the frame instead of just out of the, like away from the camera instead of out of it. I guess it's not a blue screen after all, a green screen. We're going to continue watching him going up the plane. I just want to watch to see if he'll trip, because, you know, that would be couched in humor. Oh wait, he stopped. I told you not to talk about the skydiving thing. Probably what he said. Or someone else closes the door in his face. That would be funny. But darn it. Oh, there's the whole wave and thumbs up, you know. Got to do that thing. And he's gone. Oh, I didn't even play the last part or whatever. Whatever. It's fine. I did the wave for you, right? Anyway, so that's old JD. Is there anything else I wanted to talk about on tonight's show? I don't think so. Let's just see. Do you think JD Vance has the experience to be president? I mean, he's experienced what, 2 years of Donald Trump's leadership ineptitude or whatever. I mean, there's no requisite experience that's technically required to be president, but he's not somebody I would want. There's too much Peter Thiel there, regardless of the. I mean, ignoring the fact that he's a Republican piece of shit. I mean, there's the fact that he's Peter Thiel's piece of shit too. So there's that, and that's a big issue there. In that, let's look at everything in a vacuum, shall we? If we looked at everything in a vacuum and ignored anything else that JD Vance has ever said and done, and just looked at what he said there, despite the fact that some of what he said there is basically condoning abusive behavior by President Trump, right? He still seemed at least to be acting more presidential than Donald Trump ever has. But again, that's a very low bar. The bar is so low, it's a tavern in Hades. So it's a very, very low bar. And, you know, again, I would much rather somebody else who's not a MAGA, who's not a Republican, who's not backed by Peter Thiel, who's not going to sit here and, you know, I'll have to worry about what's going on the couches in the West Wing or whatever. JD Vance is going to be like, I'm going to take the ballroom that Donald Trump built and is going to turn it into a couch store. So, I don't know. It just, I'd rather not have to know whether or not JD Vance has the experience enough to be president, but, I mean, health-wise, there's always that a possibility that he's going to be 48. So, just because he's going to be 48, because the clot might dictate that he becomes number 48. Yes, he is another example of failing upward, pretty much. You know, but best because he's failing upward because somebody else was like, ooh, I can take him and be my stooge, a.k.a. Peter Thiel, right? Bernie is still healthy. I mean, the exception proves the rule, right? I'm still healthy, but that doesn't mean that we should be electing anybody else who's this old as from being a senator to being the president of the United States. I could be the exception to the rule. It still should be the rule. Anyway, I'm knocking over shit. At least it was an empty cup, right? Anyway, I have some stuff to do tonight before I get to bed, so we still did a 2-hour show, which is good. But we will go ahead and end the show, and because there might be some new people here who might not have heard the whole Had Biden. I mean, you heard a couple of the clips from it, but there might be a couple of people who haven't heard the Had Biden Done It song, so we're going to go out with Had Biden Done It, and then the Everybody Knew, and then maybe one more song before we head out. So thank y'all very much for joining. And again, if there's probably not going to be an opportunity for me to do anything over the weekend, simply because when I'm not going to be, you know, taking the kids to their bowling tournament, like a couple hours away, I'll be probably visiting my wife in the hospital and working. So not a lot of time. So hopefully nothing huge happens. If it does, maybe I'll go live on my phone, but that probably will only be on YouTube and not on Twitch. So make sure to always subscribe to me over on YouTube. Get those numbers up. Look at videos, like, share, comment, etc. Help the algorithm, because remember, Al Gore needs more rhythm. With that being said, y'all have a great night. Thank you for being here. As always, peace.
Trump piled debt, trillions tall, promised Mexico would fund that wall, praised dictators, said they're strong, had Joe done it, they'd say he's wrong, had Biden done it, MAGA would flip, had Biden done it, whole numbers would flip, had Biden done it, they'd scream foul play, but Trump did it, so it
6 months litigated. Years of med school debt got capitalized. Insurance claim forms so high they nearly capsized. But he wouldn't know the frustration of trying to get prior authorization. Everybody knew, the whole world knew, the doctors, the lawyers, the CBO crew. Oh, 30,000 pages already reviewed. It wasn't a big secret. We knew. He said people don't realize Obama deported, but the porter-in-chief is what La Raza retorted. Obama went after the violent folks and felons, Trump nabbed the dishwashers and people picking melons. But Obama's argument shows that he's not very bright. If Obama made some wrongs, two wrongs don't make a right. Everybody knew, the whole world knew. Univision, AP, the fact check crew. Oh, acting all surprised that the sky is blue. It wasn't no secret. We knew. He asked who knew a virus could be so contagious. Virologist blinked at someone so outrageous. He was surprised at how many countries existed. No wonder when the virus spread, he the one who missed it. Spread them out, slit red in every deadly hue. World Health Memo said we already knew. Everybody knew. Oh, the whole world knew. Oh, the lab coats, the leaders, and we were with the flu. Oh, the nations of the world, more than 192. It wasn't a big secret. We knew. You unveiled oxygen like contraband air. Like 60. You sat down, claiming to discover chairs. War called money was his big surprise. Iraq has oil, can you believe your eyes? He said, we are divided, a surprise to no one thinking. And he was most surprised a Republican was Lincoln. Everybody knew, the whole world knew. The Christians, the Muslims, atheists, and the Jews. Oh, like being shot, they have animals at the zoo. It wasn't a big secret. We knew. Everybody knew. Everybody knew. Everybody knew. Everybody knew.
House Sparks running boy on the mic tonight, breaking down the chaos with humor and light. From making worldwide to the nerd hailing thing, just leading the charge in this live stream age. Welcome to the Sparklerverse tonight, where the smart talk lands and the jokes take flight. If the world's gone weird and absurdly terse, come laugh it out in the Sparklerverse. Live in the mornings with sexy liberal flair, Stephanie Miller crafting truth on the air. Punchlines flying like fireworks in June, intelligence cutting straight through the gloom. Dan Liberal Dan arrives with rhetorical might, bringing you talk from the left, that's right. Hypocrites and rednecks he will smite, but that after dark show is nowhere in sight. Welcome to the Sparklerverse, please subscribe, cause the trolls get toasted and truth survives. It's a worldwide bar for the curious mind. Pull up a chair, you'll fit just fine. Boston tax wicked high. You're calling out nonsense right in the eye. If the take ain't logic, can't back the car. Then he dunks on back takes like a socks all-star. Fill up in a bringing the world to view. Frontline updates straight from Ukraine to Rob Glenn. Upping out the digital scene. Talking AI and what it might be. Farrah Dublin with the writer's eye so keen. Certain breaking news into a biting scene. Trucker John rolling in through the night. And don't forget the mods who keep it alright. Different voices, but all refined. Different hours, most of the time. United and cutting through the news. All cheered on by the Sparkler crew. Welcome to the Sparklerverse tonight. Where curiosity keeps the lights on bright. Smash that like and come to converse. We're broadcasting live from the Sparklerverse. Hey, hey, hey. Obama and Bush's pictures got hidden, obscuring the past, history rewritten. Hung in a hallway where no door can see, confirming his unending fragility. If Trump can't see it, you must not exist. That also includes the Epstein list. Object permanent, a milestone missed. If Trump can't see it, he must not exist. The testing was the line that he said. Hundreds of thousands needlessly dead. Now HHS is run by brainworm quack, hiding the truth behind his back. If Trump can't see it, it must not exist. That also includes the Epstein list. An administration run by narcissists. If Trump can't see it, it must not exist. Documents stacked floor to the wall. Top secret folders in a bathroom stall. Charges were pressed, but the case was dropped. A corrupt judicial system he can co-opt. If Trump can't see it, it must not exist. Else includes the Epstein list. He'll swear it's fake news, a liberal twist. If Trump can't see it, it must not exist. Encampments downtown, tents lining the street. Invisible people that power won't need. Hide them away so the cameras can't find it. Proof of a system that's cold and unkind. A chaotic secret, an NDA sign, an illegal bribe. Michael Cohen fined. Trump got fined too over his gag order, but she didn't gag, cause he was much shorter. It must not